Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we're talking about the OKC Thunder and LA Lakers in Oklahoma City tonight. It's going to be at 5 o'clock Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Thunder, that's who I've been doing homework on over the last several minutes. And essentially, the Thunder have won 4 out of their last 5 games, I believe it was, maybe even more than that. And the last game they had Giddey go down with an ankle. So that right there tells you that just about everything you did homework on in regards to the Thunder has to be adjusted by the fact that they're going to be putting different people in his stead, try to go out there and play, and that's going to give them entirely different attributes. This is what we talk about when we say you could do homework on a team but shuffle a few players around, and depending on how talented the players are that they're shuffling, you could find yourself needing to do an entirely different thing than what it is you're planning for. And that is what it essentially is what I'm telling you. Since Giddey ain't out there, what they don't have is a pure facilitator, secondary or third, I'd say, facilitator out there in theory. We're likely going to put a three-point shooter out there in Isaiah Joe. Then maybe they go with Cason Wallace, who can facilitate, but is more so a defensive-minded dynamo, two-way guy. Or a guy like Aaron Wiggins, who's been shooting the three ball very well. So now you go from having to deal with Giddey, who doesn't really shoot the three like that, but does a whole lot of combo stuff, ball handling, rebounding. And you got to remove him from your mind and insert a pure three-point shooter, more than likely. Or they could shuffle some things around, maybe start the other Jalen Williams, move some guys down, like J-Dub, move him to the 2. Obviously, Shea plays the 1, and they can kind of stack in a different position, a different way. But the bottom line is this is the number 2 overall team in the Western Conference. They're top 7 in both offensive and defensive rating. This is a two-way team if there ever was one. And even though they're going to be down Josh Giddey, they still got a bunch of super talent to throw at you. One being Chet Holmgren, 7'2", I believe, with guard skills and defensive-minded, can block shots. Has blocked 15 shots over the last 3 games. Although he didn't have any blocks against the Clippers in their last matchup, he had, I believe, 9 blocks in one game prior to that against, I believe it was maybe that was Denver a few games ago. So this is a team who's beaten the likes of Denver, beaten the likes of who else? The Clippers without Kawhi Leonard in the last game. They beat Memphis, where Memphis attempted over 53, something crazy like that. They hit 18 of them, but they still were able to overcome that. This is a team that, from what I understand, can defend the mid-range very well. So we're going to have to be aware that they want us to either shoot threes or shoot in the paint. That's one thing that I learned listening to the post game show, only 2 posts, yesterday with Laker Nation. So, doing homework with them kind of helped me understand just what way to attack this team. You want to try to shoot the 3 ball well, because they're going to definitely force you into shooting it. So you better hit them and hit them a lot. Because if you get in the paint, you're going to deal with Chet Holmgren. And so this is a team that doesn't lose very much, man. They don't lose very much. They did have a game against the Sacramento Kings about 4 games ago where it took 41 from De'Aaron Fox in order to beat them. And, of course, SGA topped that with 43. So you got to know this is an MVP caliber talent down there in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the number 1 ISO player in the league right now. He's just putting people in blenders and shooting over them, dunking and laying the ball up, doing all types of stuff, shooting threes, whatever you need. SGA is doing it. And on the other end, he could lock you up. So this is one of the premier talents in basketball today, and he's got running mates that can really run with him. You're talking about Lou Dort, who's a fantastic two-way guy, and definitely somebody who's going to look to lock you up and shoot the 3. Sometimes he can get cold shooting the ball, but he's always going to be a pest defensively. Cason Wallace, same thing, going to defend you. If they have to play him a lot, you're gonna see turnovers go up. It just is what it is. Jalen Williams, who they have 2 of them, but I'm considering J-Dub, who is basically a 6'7" point guard, is what I consider him. He can rebound, he can block shots, he can do everything. He's pretty much one of the more complete players in basketball, in my humble opinion. would probably do more with a bigger role. So I'd expect for him to have a bigger role with Giddy out. So be ready for J-Dub out there, making life hard on us, transition, making plays. There's everything that you want him to do, he can pretty much do, just like SGA. So that's why they're one of the best teams in the league, man, because they have a bunch of two-way guys that could do a lot, a whole lot. And maybe the rookie of the year in Chet Holmgren. I think at this point I would consider him the leader in that category. So, Isaiah Joe shooting threes, Aaron Wiggins shooting threes. Ousmane Deng had a game where he shot 3 out of 4 threes very recently. So you just got to understand this is a team that can stretch the floor. And if you don't bring a certain level of intensity against them, they're going to stretch you out. That's how that goes. You ain't going to win the game. Speaking of not winning games, the Lakers have lost 4 straight. The last being against the Minnesota Timberwolves without LeBron James. A game I felt if he would have played, we probably would have won. D'Lo kind of snapped out of his funk in the 4th quarter of that particular game. So hopefully that means this could be something that he carries forward and kind of snaps out of his funk for good, because he was really not his best over the last several games. And I think a lot of people have been frustrated with him. So hopefully we can get some good basketball play out of this guy tonight. And, we've just had trouble, man. Anthony Davis has been great, though. His mid-range jumper has been falling at a very high clip as of late, which is great because it hasn't been over the last several years. And over the last several games it has. So we want to continue to see that be part of what it is that we do. And, hopefully Bron can get back out there and give us what it is that we need, play at a high level, and just match what the star power is going to be coming at us in SGA and Chet Holmgren. So this is a tough matchup, man. The Los Angeles Lakers are going to be wearing white tonight. The Thunder will be wearing their orange uniforms on their home floor. And I just expect that it's going to be a toss-up of who they decide to start in Giddy's stead. And then because Giddy's out, you're just going to understand that you're going to have to deal with some very talented players coming off their bench, getting more opportunities to show what they can do. And that is never a good thing. Considering how limited we've been defending players and stuff like that. Our bench is not as strong as their bench in theory. Hopefully that can be a different way of going tonight. Maybe our bench can really go hard. Obviously we expect Austin Reeves to continue to play at a high level. He's been averaging over 20 points over the last 5 games or so. He and Anthony Davis have played well through this stretch of losses. And so that's what we could say we've seen good things. But, also just continue on the good thing path. We definitely appreciate TP, Taurean Prince's shooting, although we've had issues with other areas of his game that hasn't really kind of shown in a positive light. And the shooting has been there, all but one game, which was 2 games ago where he went 3 for 13. Shouldn't have been attempting that much anyway, but he got back to his shooting ways in the last one, and we were pleased with his attempts. So, I thought we came out and played a really good game against Minnesota to start. I thought the urgency against a number 1 overall Western Conference team was there. The urgency to win a game was there. But we just couldn't get anything out of our second best player in that game until the 4th quarter, and it was pretty much too late by then. When D'Lo's going 2 for 12 and you don't have Bron out there for a good portion of the game against a good team like that, you're just going to find yourself in a hole you can't dig yourself out of. And it's been frustrating. The ebbs and flows of the Laker games that we've lost have kind of been, we start off slow, get a lead, and then lose it again very quickly and never return, never gain it back. I think that's kind of been how it goes. You go down by 10, cut it to 2, and then they spread it out to 9, and you cut it to 5, and they spread it out to 10. It's been that kind of thing in a lot of the games that we've seen this year. And the Lakers just got to get out to better starts. We've talked about who we want to see in the starting lineup. Maybe we could switch some players around, see more Rui Hachimura, see more Austin Reeves, and just kind of slip the players who've been struggling out of the lineup. A lot of what I've been hearing Laker Nation talk about is how they don't feel they can, get away with putting certain players in certain lineups and stuff like that. But I don't know that we can consider ourselves getting away with what it is we are choosing to do. So shaking things up a little bit might be the way to go. And, I was listening to Gilbert Arenas talk about what players really work in regards to making him feel like he was working when he was a player, and putting defensive lineups on the floor was almost like a day off on the defensive end for him because they're not looking to score. And that's something that we need to take very seriously as we look towards what makes sense. A lot of times we'll put 2 and 3 defenders in a lineup alone, and what we don't realize is that even though we're looking to defend offensive players and making them work for their shots, what we don't end up considering is the fact that they don't have to work on the other end. So even if you cut them down maybe 5 or 6 points from what their average is, what you don't realize is they make it up on the other end by not having to work as hard on the offensive end or the defensive end for themselves. So that was something that I thought was some really extremely important insight, because we do have a coach that tends to want to put defensive players, and we do have a bunch of quote unquote defensive players that don't help you on the offensive end. And because of it, the players that are most likely to score a lot don't really have to work as hard. So they have more energy to give to the offensive side of the ball. They have more energy to give to those defensive players when those players are looking to do what it is they do best. And so I just think that finding two-way talent is the best way to go. Of course, you love having your Cam Reddishes and your Vanderbilts, but if they're not going to make offensive players work on the defensive end, is there something to consider there in regards to it just helping those players in the long run have more fresh legs in the end of the game? When you got your best defensive player parked on the offensive end in a corner, and a defensive guy gets to put his hands on his knees on that side of the ball, as to where if you had an offensive player coming at him, that guy got to work so hard on the defensive end into something that he's not really good at in theory, playing defense, only to come down the offensive end and have to try to have the same energy necessary to keep getting his points. I don't know the science behind that, but listening to Gilbert Arenas provided me an understanding that Gilbert doesn't agree with what we're doing out there. And so given the fact that Gilbert is a Laker fan and he wants to see us win, I took that very seriously. So, I don't know what works. I've always believed defensive players need a place in this league because you want to be able to lock people down, but I've always looked for defensive players that can help us on both sides for my preference. And unfortunately for us, tonight we're going up against a team that has that. They got players that are going to hurt you on the defensive end and then come down and put up 25 on the offensive end. So that's what we're dealing with tonight, and it's going to be tough. You consider a guy like Chet Holmgren with the length that he has and his timing, blocking shots, and his ability to dunk the ball and shoot the three. I mean, he's an awesome superstar level prospect that's coming out and exceeding expectations in a lot of ways. And then you just looked up and down the roster, you just see a bunch of guys that are going to help him by hitting perimeter shots, by defending their man well, by basically funneling those driving players toward his shot blocking length. So we're going to need a big game out of Anthony Davis to try to offset that. And we're going to need LeBron James, of course, as I've already said, to offset what Shai is going to do. And the way that Shai's been playing, you just have to expect for him to go over 30 points tonight at home against a Laker team that's really not doing a whole lot against these teams lately. I mean, even our best effort last game without LeBron James wasn't really enough to make us a threat. So not only have we been losing these games, but the games that we've been losing have been fairly easy for our opponent as of late. I thought the Chicago Bulls had an easy win against us. I didn't think I thought the Spurs had an easy win against us, which is absolutely an abominable thought when you consider they were on an 18-game losing streak. So, New York didn't really have to work too hard to beat us. It's just been a very easy go since the IST championship game for all of our opponents. And that's overly unacceptable, to say the least. So hopefully the Lakers have done homework on this team. Hopefully we have everybody. I understand that we have like 6 players on the injury report, but all of them are game time decisions, so it ain't worth mentioning any of their names in my humble opinion. Our entire team is a game time decision expected to suit up for this matchup. So we're fully healthy, man, including Gabe Vincent, including Jalen Hood-Schifino, guys that we haven't seen very much this season. They are both game time decisions. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, given the fact that when we see our full team, Darvin has more of an option available to him to do all types of stuff that a lot of times leaves us without size, small ball lineups, horrible rotations, stuff that's been documented a lot on this channel and others. And so, I want to see the Lakers come out and win this game, but to say that I have high hopes, Darvin Ham's going to have to earn that once again. He's going to have to earn our trust, because as of late, A lot of what it is that he's done has contributed, in my opinion, to the losing. Just bad rotations, bad choices. In the last game, he chose to give us a little bit of size, but we saw more Jackson Hayes than we saw Christian Wood. He didn't put Max Christie on the floor, stuff like that. I don't agree with some of these choices. And in the previous game, we went up against the Chicago Bulls, and he didn't put our centers on the floor at all past Anthony Davis, no Christian Wood, no Jackson Hayes. So that's something that I don't think we can get away with when you're going up against against Chet Holmgren. You're going to need your centers on the floor to offset his length. You're going to need that for Jay Will rather as well, who can block some shots and hit some threes. So yeah, man, this ain't the game to mess around. Ousmane Dang, 7-foot guy who can play both sides of the floor. I mean, they have a lot of length, a lot of size. Guys that, if you do not match them in height and length, will likely rebound over you and create a lot of problems. So that's what the name of the game is. It's a big team we're going up against, even though they do have some short guys like Hassan Wallace and Isaiah Joe. Those guys are extremely active on both sides of the floor and can shoot the three quite a bit, especially Joe. So if you don't come out ready to go, they're going to beat you. This is just what it is. They don't lose too much. The second overall team in the Western Conference. This is one of those games we had circled. We did play them last on December 1st. They dropped 133 points on us. And, we didn't see a whole lot there. It wasn't a whole lot there. Anthony Davis had a pretty good game, but, we didn't get much from our bench in that game. So, this is a big Austin Reeves game, in my opinion. With Josh Giddey being out, I expect Austin Reeves to just step forward. He's the guy that I said was on draft day that they both played alike and looked alike to me on the offensive end. Josh is just at a higher level. But I always expect Austin Reeves to have that in his mind, going up against a guy like Josh Giddey who has similar strengths and weaknesses he does. And given the fact that Giddey ain't out there, obviously we're going back home to Oklahoma. This is his home state. So I just expect for Austin Reeves to step forward. He's been playing well lately. And this is a game I have him circled to be a guy that should be on a heater tonight or ready to go in whatever way would make him his best. So that's what I'm looking at. We need Austin to step forward. I don't expect D'Lo to step forward. D'Lo got 1 foot out, apparently, with all these trade rumors and his contract looking tradable. I just don't expect nothing from D'Lo. I don't think our coach is going to move him to the bench, but I don't see why his minutes shouldn't go down in favor of guys like Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, of whom I want to see more of, man. Rui Hachimura had a pretty good game in Bron's stead, and even though our coach is immune to playing him at the 3, Rui at the 3 is just fine for us if we put the right players around him to help him with perimeter offensive, defensive situations. So we got to get more creative in that way. Rui Hachimura is somebody who should be getting anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes a night. And the fact that we can't work him into that type of rotation really does take away from what it is our overall team can do offensively, for which we're having struggles. So I want to see more Rui Hachimura. If that means moving minutes away from D'Lo and Torian, I think that's the right way to go. Not playing him at center, that's a mismanagement of his position. That's a mismanagement of what he does for you. And these are the type of things that we're frustrated with in regards to Darvin Ham. I'd imagine that we're going to see Gabe Vincent a lot tonight. I'd imagine he's going to put Gabe Vincent in some 3-guard lineups because that's just what we've been seeing. It's not something we appreciate at all, but it's definitely what I expect Darvin to do, and it irritates me to even say that, but I don't expect Darvin to utilize Gabe Vincent in the way that we like on this channel at all. So now that Gabe is essentially back, I do expect for Darvin to put him in some lineups that are not going to make you very happy if you don't like small ball lineups. So these are things that we know are coming, man, and it's going to play right into Oklahoma's hands. You can't necessarily do that against Oklahoma. You can't necessarily do that against anybody, but he did it against Chicago, and they did us in regards to it. So, yeah, man, do I expect to win tonight? No. SGA and Holmgren and J-Dub are very good at home. I think they're on a 5 or 6 game winning streak at home. This is a very good team, man. And they lock you up and then they score on the other end. Whatever you want, they can give you. And that's the problem. When you have a coach that you don't trust doing stuff that you don't like, it's hard to go into a game like this where the team is really good after losing 4 straight and expecting anything other than another loss. I mean, we could outplay our expectations, and we hope we do. But at this point, I just don't like what our roster looks like in Darvin's hands. I don't, and he's gonna have to regain my respect in that way. We haven't looked good since the championship game, and this ain't that team. This team is a lot better than the Pacers. So, that's really where my head is, man. Hopefully with Josh Giddey missing, it can kind of help us on the boards because he really does rebound well against the Lakers. Tends to create a lot of plays for his team just in general. So him being absent and this being the first game of his absence could shake their lineup in a way that makes them uncomfortable. But ultimately they have so many players they can plug in at that position to do things that they really, really appreciate. That even if he is missing, they're still a fantastic basketball team, truth be told. So, I want to believe, man. I want to believe. I need Bron to come out and play big. I need Austin to come out and play big. Same with AD. Rui, if he can get those minutes, that'd be great. I would love for us to finally utilize Christian Wood properly. I personally believe he needs to be getting about 20 minutes a game. And these are things that are not hard to do if you just shake your lineup up in ways that Darvin's not willing to. He's hell-bent on keeping Taurean Prince out there like Taurean's supposed to be a savior for the lineup when he really does hurt the lineup if he's not shooting well. So I just want to see our coach use our team in a way that I respect and appreciate, and I just don't expect that at all. So that's really my problem. I think this roster is solid. It's okay. You just got to shake it up differently than what Darvin's doing, and if you do, you'll see a much better offensive output specifically. And that's where we're struggling. So if we score under 120 points tonight, I do not expect to win this game. You're going to have to score tonight, man. Maybe you get a big game from AD. Maybe he goes for 38 and 15 and 4 blocks. That would be great, something like that. LeBron James going for triple doubles has not really suited us in wins lately. Him going high assist doesn't really work. I usually like Bron going for like 30 and 8 and 9. For some reason, with him passing the ball more, we just been losing, man. I don't know if it's a correlation or not, but if you look at when the triple doubles come out, we ain't been winning the game. So maybe he should go higher scoring. I really do think our issue is scoring the ball right now. So Austin's been averaging over 20 points. Maybe he can finally have a 30-point game. I don't see that coming with the type of defensive players that are going to be on him tonight. But these are the type of things that we need if we're going to win. Rui Hachimura going above 18 points. Hopefully he can get the minutes to make that make sense. But we got to score the ball, man. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. We could talk about defense, but offensively is where we suck as a team. We're 24th overall team offensively. That's in the bottom tier. So the Lakers want to win this basketball game. They're going to have to focus on making their offense better. Can't just be rendered to just shooting jump shots in the corner from TP and then little running hooks and stuff like that. We got to get in the paint. We got to score the ball like we did against the Pacers and try to get Chet Holmgren, their shot blocker, in some type of foul trouble. So get ready for SGA. That's all I got to say. Get ready for SGA. He's always knocking on the door with like 38 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists type stuff. He's always looking to do the extraordinary. And tonight will be no exception, guaranteed. He's going to be special. He always is. So that's what I'm telling y'all, man. Again, this game is on. It will be on an NBA app. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the NBA has a special going today where if you download their app and you put in your NBA ID, you can watch all of the games for free today on that app. So that is something to know. And it's quite a few big games on tonight. So there's a lot of basketball to enjoy. But, yeah, man, hope everybody's enjoying the holiday season. Of course, the Lakers will be playing on Christmas Day after this against the Boston Celtics. I believe that game is here in Los Angeles. I'm pretty certain it is. So this is our last of our road trip, a very, very bad road trip for the Lakers. And hopefully we can end it on a high note against the orange-wearing OKC Thunder. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. My enthusiasm for this team is on the ground right now. I just don't trust this coach. I don't like how he's using these players. I don't think that they like how they're being used. And we've talked a lot about it over the last several days. So I encourage everybody to check out my previous Laker videos to see just how frustrated I am and to see what solutions I think may be available. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to make some moves. We're going to have to get some players' confidence up and trade value up. And hopefully it can start tonight with a guy like D'Lo exceeding all expectations and coming out with a game that at least has him scoring 18 points. Can we get at least 18 points out of D'Lo, man? Because his lackluster play and us leaning on him is really a big part of the problem, you know. I want coach to lean on the hot hand tonight and start rewarding players who are playing better. Austin Reeves averaging 20 points a game over the last several games and had like 10 less minutes than D'Lo, who was struggling the whole game. That's one of the things that Laker Nation was complaining about. A lot of Laker fans couldn't understand that, and neither can I. If D'Lo's struggling, why does he have more minutes than somebody who plays his position, does the same things he does, who's not struggling? I mean, these are the type of things we need answers for. So that's really what it comes down to, man. Play Austin Reeves, rewards his good play. If he's playing well, keep him out there. And, you know, stick figures. Before I go, I want to say I'm sick of stick figures, man. Guys who can't do nothing but shoot the ball and that's it. People run past them on the defensive end, stuff like that. I'm sick of that, man. I'm tired of our guys being run past. I'm tired of our guys not having a first step. We need our dynamic players like Max Christie on the floor to help with the overall defensive and offensive dynamic plays, man. So, you know, that's going to be on our GM to help us get rid of these stick figures, players that can't be utilized properly but are often overused by Darvin Ham. So we'll see, man. We'll see, Lakers. Hopefully they make us proud tonight. Put a valiant effort up and don't send us to our 5th straight loss right before Christmas Day, man. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.